This is 3128's second workshop presented by Sarah, Callie, Andrew, and me, Roosevelt. Oh, that's fun. Oh, okay. Okay. We're the strategy department from 3128. Strategy is important because even if your robot is built really well, you have to rely on your strategy department to actually win competitions. Today we're going to talk about design theory, and we'll include Karthik's golden rule, priority lists, and functional requirements. Karthik's golden rule. Rule number 1, always build within your team's limits. Before you design your robot, you have to consider your team's resources like the experience of your team and your budget. Simpler designs are more reliable because if you have a really complex, fancy design, it'll work great in theory, but in an actual match, it'll just drag you down. Rule number 2, quality mechanisms over quantity mechanisms. Consistency throughout matches is better than the ability to do everything. It's better to be able to do one thing really good than 5 things just so-so. If your team has 30 units of robot and functions maximum of 10 units, better to have 3 functions at 10 out of 10 than 5 functions at 6 out of 10. This is a quote by Karthik that basically says you want to have 3 really good functions rather than 5 just average functions.
Hi, my name is Andrew, and I'm part of the 308 strategy department. When designing a robot, emphasizing simplicity is very important because over-engineering is not a good idea. While it might seem advantageous to build a robot that can perform everything, if it will make it a lot more prone to breaking on the field or malfunctions. For example, Robonauts in the 2023 Charged Up game, they built a robot Illusion that could perform 20 functions compared to Uppercut, the one for Robo Wrangler's robot, which could only perform 7. However, Illusion, because it had to perform so many functions, it was really complex and had a lot of components. And meanwhile, Uppercut was a lot more simple and had shorter cycle times. So Robonauts ended up losing finals in the Newton subdivision, while Robo Wranglers won the Houston Championships. Case in point, over-engineering is not a good idea. It is better to emphasize simplicity and focus on reliability to make sure it can achieve a few functions well. Creating a priority list at the beginning of build season is a great way to organize necessities from add-ons. Priority lists help rank what functionalities the robot needs and helps us decide what the robot should be able to do to play at its best. This is our charged up priority list, by the way.
Hi, my name is Callie, and when designing a robot, you should also make functional requirements. Functional requirements include the basic functionalities that the robot should be able to do and perform in a competition. It includes the minimum that the robot should do in order to become competitive during a regional. Different requirements for different competition weeks should be made as other teams improve, so this list should be frequently updated as both the game and the robot develop. These functional requirements should also be specific and measurable, so rather than saying that you want a fast and accurate shooter, you could say that you want a shooter with 9 out of 10 accuracy that can score in less than 1 second. This is an example of functional requirements for the game Crescendo, and it does not represent functional requirements for all games. For example, in week 1, we wanted to be able to complete 7 cycles per match and have a basic auto that is consistent. For example, this could be a preload and a leave. We also wanted to have a 17 out of 20 accuracy when shooting speaker. Whereas in week 4, we wanted to be able to complete 10 cycles per match and have more complicated auto options. For example, instead of the preload and leave, we could have a 3-note auto. We also want our accuracy to improve, so rather than the 17 out of 20 accuracy, we could have a 19 out of 20 accuracy when shooting speaker. This is an example of our mock kickoff functional requirements, which is not a real game, but it includes the examples of must-haves and nice-to-haves for each week of a Steamworks competition. We like to organize this by competitions so that we know what we want to have and accomplish by each competition. Additionally, we will also be talking about past game analysis. This includes looking at previous archetypes and modern day implications.
Okay. I'm Sarah. I'll be talking about past game analysis and modern day implications. So basically, past game analysis is analyzing past games using a past game database to efficiently create a new robot design. Past game databases include the objective of the past game, successful strategies, and similar game elements. By looking at successful robot designs that worked in the past, we can create a reliable and efficient design for a new game. We keep a document that lists information about the past game so we can reference it during build season. These documents may include game pieces, game elements, information about gameplay, or successful strategies. So Team 254 recycled some components of their robot, but to accommodate different objectives of different games, you can see how the robot changed over the years. And there's a quote, "Steal from the best, invent the rest." It's a good idea to reuse ideas that already proved to be successful. And it keeps the idea and robot design process a few steps ahead of the game. Modern day implications. New games might have some similarity to previous game elements. And taking note of these modern day implications means that we are efficient with our process, and on top of that, we don't have to unnecessarily test new designs only for them to break. For example, our climbing hooks for Crescendo were inspired by the climbing hooks that we use in 2022 for Rapid React. Another example is the game similarities between 2022 and 2020. Both were shooter games involving the game pieces of balls being shooted, and teams participating in 2020, also participating in 2022, took note of this and used the information from 2020 to base their robot.
Thank you for coming to our workshop today, and thank you for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and me or any of the strategy department will be happy to answer.